the young. Welcome, doctor. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining this informative session. Hypertension is something that is important to us all because it's something that remains very prevalent in our society. If you have not heard the word hypertension, you must have heard, I get blood pressure or I get high BP. Even as kids, when our parents would caution us, they'll say, don't give me high BPO because of this your misbehavior. So our society and community, we are all very much aware of hypertension, even if we call it blood pressure. I'm sure we all watching also feel the same way. So what is the relevance of learning about hypertension? It's quite important to our health. It's good we know. And then you can only manage something when you know it, when you know about it. Hypertension is actually means increase in the blood pressure. And there is a level that the pressure in the blood is supposed to be able to supply your organs, your brain, kidneys, your liver, and all the other organs in the body. But when that pressure exceeds the normal, these days, when it exceeds anything above 130 or 140, they say it's hypertension. And what is the relevance of this? There are sometimes you go to fetch water, the tap is running fast, there are sometimes it's running slow. All that is dependent on the pressure in the pipeline. If the pressure is small, it might take a bit of time to fill your bucket or to fill your jerry can. If it's running fast, if the pressure is fast, it will fill quicker. But what will happen is that as it's filling quicker, some water will splash on you. Some water will pour on the ground and waste. That's how pressure works. So when the pressure is too much, there are problems associated with that. Imagine what you see in a car when the tire is bad, one part of the tire is weak. Sometimes you might see some bulging out on the tire. Sometimes that's because of the consistent pressure on that tire and the fact that the integrity of the tire is not strong enough again. So those kind of things, what will happen sometimes when you see that kind of bulge, there's a high chance that in the near future, that tire may burst. So it's the same thing that can happen to our blood vessels when the pressure is too much. And that's why the pressure needs to be controlled to avoid any type of incidences within the blood vessels. In form of prevalence, you should note that out of 10 people, about 3 to 4 in Nigeria has hypertension, whether diagnosed or not. It's mostly prevalent in the east and in the south. And some of these reasons can be due to genetics, things we cannot control. So it's very important for us to know about hypertension and how to manage it. So what are the causes of hypertension? Some of the most important causes of hypertension include genetics, which I've said. It's how you were born. At a particular age, a lot of Africans, especially a lot of Nigerians, especially those in the southeast, at a particular age will start to have an increase in blood pressure. That's genetically how we're made. And that's why some of us down south or some of us in the east would usually die of particular causes. And that's because of genetic predisposition. Another thing that could cause high blood pressure Could be lifestyle, the kind of diet we eat. If we take a very salty diet, which can also apply to those of us in the south and the southeast and the south, we take a lot of salt. Salt attracts water. So if I were to put salt in a permeable container, that means a container that can allow water to pass through it, to absorb water and to give water. If I put salt inside, that container would expand because it's going to attract water from the environment. So when you eat a high salted diet, you attract a lot of water or a lot of fluid into your blood vessel. And what happens, because the fluid is going to be so much, the pressure is going to go high. Another thing that could cause it, lack of physical exercise. Today, in a great part of Nigeria, when you have big stomach, they look at it as a means of wealth. This man is eating well, he's feeding well. You're killing yourself. So whenever, as you grow up, as you tend towards 25, 26, and one starts to have that pot belly, men and women alike, you must check it, because the truth is that things have started going wrong in the body, and physical exercise can help that. So big stomach should not be a sign of wealth, it should be a sign of poor health. It means that one is not taking active care of himself. And this can also be termed obesity. A lot of us have abdominal obesity, stomach obesity. And we can always link it to things like excessive alcohol drinking. Alcohol drinking is not bad, but excessive is bad. Our diet is usually filled with carbohydrates, which is part of what will change into fats and settle in that area. Remember, we have very vital organs in the stomach or around the tummy area. So imagine the pressure if somebody's abdomen or stomach was growing big out of fat. And they term it good living, which is actually not good living at all. Other contributing factors could be stress. The situation in our country, is stressful enough. When you close from work, the traffic going back home is stressful. When somebody almost hits your car, or when keke almost hits your car, or bike almost hits your car, the shouting you're shouting, or the shouting to bus driver, is also stress. So all these can contribute to high blood pressure. Another thing, though not prevalent in the south or south or southeast, is smoking, but this is mostly prevalent in the north. Tobacco products, smoking, alcoholism can also contribute to the stresses of the body and cause high blood pressure. So we have talked a little bit about how blood pressure is raised and then the effects